Okay, this is Dragon of Eternity and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, patch 6.1 MSQ. In the last video, I rounded up a few Scions in order to go through a dungeon. And I went through that dungeon. And we have discovered a void gate that was sealed away by Valshan for some reason. So, this episode, let's find out why it's here. I expect you have more questions. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Even in the learned halls of Sharlayan, 'tis forbidden to throw wide the gates to the abyss. The peril is far too great. Perhaps I might linger a touch longer. Oh, no you don't. Can such a tiny portal truly be so dangerous? Yes. Yes, it can. A brother's grief. Uh-oh. Brother. Are we about to find out where the last dragon is? Oh, I'm not happy about this. A brother's grief. Y'shtola is apprising the Void Gate with a scholarly eye. A brother's grief. It has to be one of the first brood. Maybe? Oh, the Heavensward music!
I must admit, I am deathly curious to know how a void gate came to be hidden in the depths of these ruins.
Mode.
To tell that tale, we must first peer far to the south, and even further into memory.
Mercidia? Are we about to get an Echo Vision?
An age 5 millennia passed when the Algan Empire sent an invading force to the shores of Mercidia. The southern people rallied around the commanding figures of Bahamut and Tiamat and fought fiercely to repel the would-be conquerors.
I know where this story's gonna go.
With Bahamut's defeat, however, the tide turned against them. Desperate to seize any advantage, the Mercidians resorted to summoning primal entities.
Yep, the Fiend Sephiroth, the Goddess Sophia, and the Demon Servan.
In response, Emperor Xande forged a covenant with the Cloud of Darkness, sovereign among the all-devouring denizens of the Void.
Yep, I kicked her ass in 2.5.
Thus bolstered by icons on one side and Voidsent on the other, the two armies clashed in a battle of unspeakable carnage. So much death, so much loss.
Damn.
I consider myself well versed in that period of history, yet you speak as one who witnessed it happen.
There were more dragons involved in that war, weren't there?
Indeed, I did. I heard Tiamat's roar of defiance and sped toward that war-torn land. Along with my sibling, Azdaja.
Azdaja. He never answered the call when it came to collecting scales for the Ragnarok.
We dragons are not male or female as men are wont to classify, but elder sister is the closest a mortal tongue can come to describing what she meant to me.
Alright.
I was the last of our brood to hatch, and Azdaja cared for me where my sire could not.
Azdaja was an elder sister to you.
Thus I was with her when Tiamat roared. I was with her when she journeyed south, and I was with her when she fought against the Voidsent hordes.
I know where this is going, she's in the 13th.
Yet no matter how many of their vile fiends we cast down, more rose from the abyss to take their place. Faced with an unwinnable war of attrition, Azdaja risked her all on a final gamble. She plunged through the Void Gate itself to strike at the root of their strength. I tried to follow in her wake, determined to lend what aid I could. But even as I came upon Alag's glittering tower, I saw the rift close behind her.
She's in the 13th.
And Azdaja has been lost to us ever since.
Oh god, there are several ways that could go from this. Either she's alive and fighting still. She died. She died and got possessed. So, void dragons. That's what I'm assuming.
I find I must retract my earlier claim of historical knowledge. Nowhere in the Crystal Tower's archives did I see mention of such noble sacrifice.
That does not surprise me. To Allagan eyes, it must have seemed as if a lone dragon, driven to madness, simply dove through the gate and did not return. For my part, I spent long years searching for the means to reunite with Azdaja. Until I could search no more. Until Allag was dust, and the arts to open a void gate large enough to accommodate a dragon forever lost.
Damn.
Yet you have the beginnings of a gate right here, under the control of a harnessed device.
My discovery came before Radzat-Han was founded. Though I scoured the lands for a method to cross the rift, it was beneath the sea that I chanced to find a natural planar fissure.
Well, that explained the sea monks.
It was, however, far too narrow to admit a worm's bulk. Only after our city rose upon the rock, and I could enlist the aid of our talented alchemists, did matters take a favorable turn. Their dedication was beyond reproach. Tirelessly they worked to expand the fissure, and after decades of toil, it finally grew to a size that a child might pass through.
Hence Varshan.
Not long ago, you told us that you called out to your kin, but Azdaja's answer was silence. I suspect the conclusion to your tale was not a joyful one.
Uh-oh.
With hope in my heart, I used a simulacrum to cross the threshold. But no, I did not find her. What I found was a host of Voidsent, clamoring around the opening they had sensed. 'Twas but a moment, but enough. I had no choice but to retreat and allow the portal to contract once more.
The gate was a threat to your people. You had to decide between endangering Radzat-Han and abandoning your sister. And you chose the latter.
Don't put it like that, Estinian.
'Twas not that thy siblings scorned thy call. 'Twas that she was trapped beyond a barrier through which neither roar nor dragon may pass. Even now, in the desolate world of the 13th.
I can scarce imagine your pain, yet it was wise not to linger in that place. Too long a sojourn, and even a being of your power risks being warped into a creature of the void.
You know, there is a group on the 1st that's trying to reverse what's happened on the 13th. I could contact them, you two could work together, you know? Heck, there's 2 kids that can open a void gate. It would work.
You've seen this phenomenon before, when we stepped into the darkness.
Yeah, and here we went all purple crystally. I remember when Nero turned purple.
Turned purple? Well, yes. His wounds had allowed the Void's corruption to enter his body and twist his ether. Had it been allowed to progress much longer, I presume he would have been fully transformed.
Then there is little hope for Ashdaya.
Well. You never know.
Ah, no. I hadn't meant to. I speak only of possibilities. The scales of the First Brood are extraordinarily resistant to ethereal fluctuations. They are the protective talisman's core components after all, and even the corruption I described would struggle to overcome. Of course. With the warding scale in one's possession, one could conceivably survive a stay in the 13th without being warped by its energies.
So that's why they were being worked on before the final days came about. You were using your own scales to do that.
Be that as it may, it is too late to rescue my sister. 5,000 years too late.
No, not necessarily. You know, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey bullshit. Grohar knows this in the first.
And now countless others look to me for guidance and protection. So when I sensed intruders in the ruins, I came only to ensure that the gate remained closed. That, and to secure the treasure, of course.
Oh, now it's back to treasure.
I wish only to forget the rest.
You know, we could help you. Damn. Oh, now the quest is accepted. 13 minutes into the video. The First Brood has been added. Aether has been added. What else? Okay. Reatra's grief for her lost sibling will be no mystery to Estinian. His had been a life entwined with sorrow, even before he became host to Nidhogg's essence. The 13th, what chaos must consume that world. Chaos. Millennia have passed since I last saw her, but I see Azhdaha in memory still, clear and vivid. I wondered how one of the First Broods could simply vanish and leave no trace of her passage. Now I have my answer. Yep, the mystery of the final member. So they managed not only to expand the fissure, but also manipulate it as one might avoid gate. Or one might a gate, even. Astonishing. Is there any chance I could learn more of how this feat was accomplished? I will tell you what I can. First, however, I must return to the High Crucible and arrange to replace the Guardians you so handily destroyed. It will not do to leave the gate undefended. My apologies, we were perhaps a touch zealous in our rush to uncover the vault's secrets. If the constructs can be repaired, we would be happy to offer our assistance. That will not be necessary. Much as I retain spare vessels for myself, we keep duplicate Guardians on hand for such eventualities. You have multiple of the asshole boss? Oh dear lord. In any case, we should return to Radazan. Well, okie dokie. Okie dokie. Speaker Farshan at the High Crucible. Damn. What a way to start a video. Hey, here's one of the First Brood. Turns out she disappeared into a void gate. Now, she might be alive. She might have had kids. She might be dead, she might have turned into a Void Scent dragon. There were quite a few Void Dragons in the 13th in the World of Darkness raid. So I suspect they were probably just taken from Mericidia. Alright, High Crucible. Ah, we're going to this one. Wait, what about the money? Well, shit. Alright, I guess we're including you, eh? This is quite the gathering, to what do we owe the pleasure? Ritra speaks of Azhdahar is not... Ritra speaks as if Azhdahar is a lost cause, but I wager he feels differently in his heart of hearts. Yep. There is much about the Void Gate that I cannot even begin to explain. I must convince Ritra to share everything he knows. Good luck. While I am loath to keep Kryl waiting much longer, I cannot bring myself to leave before hearing more of Ritra's tale. 'Twas a most enjoyable expedition, for which I am grateful. As for my evaluation, I shall impress upon the Loporrits that a treasure vault is incomplete without daunting sentinels to test the mettle of any would-be intruders. No, 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 no! I promise we will discuss the Void Gate later, but I first must attend to the matter of the Vault Sentinels. As your instruments have no doubt informed you, the Capiculu has been reduced to so much scrap. Please bring a new one out of storage and see that it is conveyed to its post along with some lesser constructs. Was it tomb robbers? Fiends born of the Tower of Zot? By the sisters, do not tell me a blasphemy yet roams free! To be fair, ignorance is bliss. Why such guilty faces? Surely it isn't you who are responsible for this? Oh. Well, the details aren't important. I shall see it done immediately. Yeah, you might want to take the treasure map back. And with that, the vault will soon be secure once more. Now I believe you had questions. Quite a few, in fact, but I'd like to begin with the gate itself. It's still functional, yes? Indeed, which is why I saw it sealed with an alchemically forged lock and warded it with my magics. Such power must not fall into the wrong hands. In truth, the primary reason for the vault's construction was to keep the gate hidden from the outside world. So much effort for such a little door. That little door you speak of leads to an abyss teeming with unspeakable horrors. That said, in its current state, it would admit only the lowliest of Void Scent, and from this side, no man would be able to pass through. No man? I should think the Alpha Node would fit, given a firm enough push. Physical size is only one consideration. The true restriction hinges on the etheric density of the soul in transit. And yet you succeeded in expanding this diminutive portal and sending your simulacrum to the 13th. Thanks to my brilliant alchemists, I should have destroyed the anomaly when I found it, but instead I bade them devise a means to control it. After much experimentation, they accomplished the impossible. A method was conceived by which my magics could manipulate the fissure and transform it into a serviceable gate. But the process has since been forgotten. Once I had given up searching for Azhdahar, there was no need to preserve such esoteric and dangerous knowledge. Thus has the gate lain dormant, for years uncounted. Your own passage to the 13th was made relatively simple thanks to the Our own passage to the 13th was made relatively simple thanks to the Crystal Tower. An ancient mechanism channeled the tower's vast stores of energy to open a void gate, one bound to a covenant made with the Cloud of Darkness. Once that sovereign entity was being back, however, the covenant was broken and the doorway severed from its connection to the void. Theoretically, it should be possible to reconnect the gate by forging a new pact with another Void Scent, but such deals usually end up in betrayal and death. In any case, we should attempt to gain an understanding of the Bounty Gate. Mayhap you could resume the search for your sister. As I have already explained, I put those futile hopes to rest centuries ago. My place and my duty is here now. I had meant to ask, what prompted you to search for the vault in the first place? To see if the legends were true, it was Aulustinian's idea. Technically a bit of both. As you have seen, the fabulous wealth from the stories is quite real, if not its rumoured origin. But I'm afraid I must assert a prior claim. I've been adding to that trove for years, little by little, but the time has come to spend it, that I might alleviate my people's suffering. Then we are of one mind. We had no intention of taking it for ourselves. Isn't that right, my friend? Your Excellency, would you object if I were to conduct a close examination of the gate? I will make no attempt to open it, of course. I owe you and yours a debt that can never be repaid. Whatever boon you ask of me, you shall have it. You are most gracious. I shall take full advantage of your permission. Would that I could join thee in thy study, but the Loporrits will be anxious to receive my report. I beg my leave of you. And I must be off to Charlene as well. Mistress Cryle was eager to speak with you about the request for that alliance raid, so please come back to the Annex as soon as you are able. Farewell for now. And we're down to 4. We can discuss my finding once I return. You will not be rid of me so easily. So if I wanted to, I could turn this quest in now and then go to the Alliance raid. I've been wanting to do it for so long, but... Chance to record. You may now undertake the Chronicles of a New Era quest series, Myths of the Realm. Speak with the fresh-faced student at the Baldesion Annex to accept the first quest. Whoa. I hope you enjoyed the expedition at least, otherwise it was a heavy purse to pay for a treasure map leading to a treasure we couldn't keep. The difficult part in all of this will be deciding how best to put these riches to use. Will you lend me your assistance in these deliberations? Of course. Of course. Thank you, Mariashna. Mariashna and Irons together, I will follow her example. Meanwhile, elsewhere. Meanwhile, in the place I saw in the first episode. Oh, that music. Hello? 6th, 7th throne. That's a 13th. Hello. Fire. Earth. Water. Wind. Throne of Earth. I sensed the breaching of a gate, but it was not instigated from this side. 'Twas thrown open from the other. I too felt it. A rare occurrence, yes, but such a tiny portal is beneath our notice. There are more pressing matters at hand. An opportunity is upon us, the coming of which we have awaited for nigh on 10,000 years. We dare not let it slip our grasp. Yet we must not underestimate She who bested the cloud of darkness. Even restrained by a covenant, the cloud was no feeble wisp to be dispersed by some flesh-and-blood mortal. Bah, let her come. I will drown the world and watch this fleshling grasp for breath in her final moments. Your zeal is admirable, but forget not our cause. Think back on our struggles beneath the sunless sky. Remember why we cede not our will to fight. 'Tis time we set the war in motion and win redemption for our star. Hello, Golbez. Hello, FF4 Golbez. And the 4 fiends of FF4. Fun times ahead in this expansion. I hope you enjoyed the expedition at least, otherwise it was ever supposed to be. Sharing the wealth. Vaughn wishes to discuss the distribution of the treasure. Shall we begin? If we are to spend the treasure wisely, then we must first determine which groups would benefit most from monetary assistance. Some of my citizens may find it intimidating to speak with the Satrap directly, so I would ask that you act in my stead. Alright. Marshna, you are to visit Akyali and Yedlamad, speak with Matzia and his people, and listen to their grievances. Estinian, I beg you to do the same at Palakistan. I will be conducting my own inquiries at the Giant's Gold Grounds. Once you believe you have sustained the needs of the populace, we can reconvene at Megaduta. Okie dokie. Let's switch back to Dragoon. Let's switch that climate plate back on. And to Akyali. Akyali. What kind of quest am I on? I want to say 6. I think there's 10, so 5 MSQ videos? Probably. Okie dokie. I'm gonna take a look at that now. It's not gonna spoil anything, I just want to know how many quests I got left. So, flying to Akyali as it starts to rain, maybe? No. Matzia. How you doing, buddy? Oh, Marshna, I was so glad to see you had returned unharmed. You finished with boat then? Yeah. Anything the village desperately needs? Well, I suppose Kazaz's loss hit us the hardest. You know, after he turned into bloody blasphemy. I've been trying to find buyers for my fish, but although I sell a few here and there, it's so much more difficult than it was before. Everyone's still struggling to rebuild their lives. For now, we're just banding together as best we can. Alright. Speak with locals of Yedlamad to 0 out of 2. Alright, FF14. 6.1 MSQ. 6.1 MSQ. And hopefully Google leads me to the right answer. It's only giving me videos. I don't want videos. No. There we go. At least I hope that's it. Doing this on the phone is a lot harder than doing it on computer. And Junkmonger! Greetings and welcome, traveller. If this is your first time to Fafnir, then you must try my special Amra Lassie. It's a refreshing zest that cannot be beat. What could such a wonder cost you, wonder? Normally I would part with 3 bottles for the generous price of 19,800 gil. But for you, I'm willing to go as low as even 10,000. You'd be practically stealing from me. I am not Estinian. Stealing in that price, you're the only thief around here. Got you! You're the ones with that spear-toting fellow. Yes. Yes, I am. Well, you can hardly blame a man for trying. The world may no longer be on fire, but we are still sifting through the ashes, so to speak. Sisters, spare me. We might as well have that ugly tower back for the scant few travellers we see these days. I myself barely have the coin to buy at local prices. I tell you, if I didn't charge the odd adventurer a small fortune for afternoon tea, I'd be scavenging for scraps in the street. Okay, so that's a... And that seems to be a supply and demand issue. Let's see, next is Guildstaff. Sigh. How far's the port? Well, it's in shambles, isn't it? The trade routes are open once more now that the danger has passed, certainly. But no small number of merchants have had to sell their ships to make ends meet in the short term. And add to that the sailors we lost in the final days, it's a little wonder the flow of exports is no more than a pitiful trickle. If Carl Zahlen's consortium was still with us, I'm sure he'd have found a way to turn our fortunes around, and now that was a good man who got things done, God's rest his soul. He has spoken of key local figures and gained an understanding of the people's hardships. Varshan awaits you at the port of Magaduta. Magaduta, Magaduta, Magaduta. Magaduta. Magaduta's over there. Okay. Come on, phone. Please load. Oh wow, that's a quick quest to turn in. Unless there's a big cutscene to follow. Right, post Endwalker MSQ. Please load. Visit Varshan at Magaduta. Did I say there was a port in Magaduta? Oops. And let's see, 6.1 newfound adventure, 10 quests. So this will be turning in number 6 out of 10 then. Estinian. Should seem my stint on Vritra's back did not go unnoticed. I couldn't take 2 steps before another Favnarian was thanking me profusely for saving their home. Well, there's not many people that ride a bloody dragon's back. Ah, my advisor's return. I just made it back myself. Why do you retain this vessel now that your true form is known? You could have flown across the island in a fraction of the time. Be that as it may, the sight of a massive creature descending from the sky can be startling to say the least. And there are a few places I can enter comfortably without risk of flattening some cart or stall. Ooh. Fair enough. As for my inquiries, the people of Palakistan were unanimous in their reply. They are surviving. Resources were stretched to the limit when refugees were pouring in, but they persevered with some assistance from Yedlamad. From what I understand, they have always been an independent community, hunters and foragers and like, and I was assured that the jungle provides for their needs, for the most part. Palakistan has weathered the disaster better than most, it seems. I myself heard good news and bad. The quarrymen were cautiously optimistic, having just sold a full wagon of giant's gold to a foreign trader. But such visitors are few and far between. Compared to our best years, the weight of stone leaving Favnir has been light indeed. Our nation is small and isolated, its prosperity dependent on a steady stream of exports. We must identify any obstacle to the flow of trade, so we may begin working to remove them. Tell me, what did you learn in Akiali and Yedlamad? A lot. So people need boats. People need help selling fish. I see without a dedicated buyer, the average fisherman must struggle to offload his daily catch. Which is why I believe we should address the lack of ships and shortage of able-bodied sailors in Yedlamad. I am reminded of a child I spied as I made my way back to the palace, his father lost at sea when the beast sunk their vessel. So many variations of the same tragic tale repeated over and over, so many lives lost. Yeah. Yeah. Grief enough to drown in if we let ourselves be overcome, but we will not. Marishna Estinian, I will consider the perspectives you've brought me, and devise a plan to help my people confront this adversity. Come, I would like you to be in attendance when I announce a proposal to my assembled functionaries. Lovely, it's voiced. I'm gonna mute the mic and have a drink.
The riches the Radiant host have retrieved were hoarded in Al-Zadal's name. A fortune I set aside for a future day of need. And lo, that day hath come. May it aid our wounded city in reclaiming its vibrancy and vigor. In better times, I would leave such a task to our capable Ahawan. God's rest his soul. Finding myself bereft of his counsel in the here and now, I will assume the responsibilities of mine office directly. Firstly, the treasure shall be sold for more convenient currency. Thence, invested into the trading port of Yedlamad. Our merchants must have their operations restored, their ships rebuilt. Commerce must flow once more. None were spared the tragedy of the final days. Of this, I am well aware. But an absence was created by the loss of Karazal's consortium. And by filling it, we provide new means for our fishermen, our artisans, and others to bring their wares to distant markets.
I think this could have been avoided if one seller just decided to work with the guy instead of going for a cheaper deal. Makes you think.
And what of the children who were left without family to care for them?
That is a concern which weigheth heavily upon my mind. A simple gift of coin will soon be exhausted, leaving these young souls adrift on the fringes of our society. Nay, a proper solution is needed, one which doth guarantee their welfare for years to come. Thou hast surely seen how other nations rise to meet this challenge, adventurer. What dost thou deem the wisest course?
I suggest an orphanage and a proper education. Taxes. It takes a village. Idleshire's orphanage was funded through trade in highly coveted goods. The permanent orphanage was built as part of a communal restoration effort. But would the community be willing to do that here? Levy them on trade profits in exchange for your investment. So that would be doing that for the guy that sold the map then. It takes a village that's probably Palakistan. Go and say the firmament. Why not?
Of course, the revival of trade can contribute to the building of a new institution.
That's not what I said.
Let us put this idea into practice. A contract shall be written, requiring all who receive of Al-Zadal's treasure to commit a portion of their future earnings towards the running of an orphanage. Now, such an influential policy is deserving of a worthy name.
I shall call it the Estonian build.
A fitting candidate. Kal'Zal should be remembered, not as the blasphemy which terrorized Thavnair, but as a hard-working and generous man who brought much wealth to our shores. Do any among you object to this proposition? Many here lost loved ones to the beasts.
In that time of strife, any one of us could have broken. Any one of us may have been taken by despair. When I think of Kal'Zal, I feel no hatred. Only a stinging regret that we could not save him as well. Isn't that right, men?
This bodes well for that boy. Narad, was it? Perhaps he can cut ties with that shady peddler.
Then let it be done. Henceforth, this initiative shall be known as the Kal'Zal Foundation. Nabdeen, thou art to assemble a patrol and ensure that no child in this city liveth in squalor. Clerks, see to the management of our funds and make haste. Our citizens must not suffer a day more than is necessary.
Dragon and man, side by side in pursuit of a brighter morrow. I'm reminded of Ishgard.
Oh, that was a touching cutscene. Pancakes. Right, so with that is the 6th quest out of 10 done for the MSQ. Fritra is warming to his role as Star Trap. Clearly all those years behind the curtain were not spent napping. Hey. And bridging the rift. That is quest number 7. I think I'm going to be saving that for another time. I am unfortunately out of time for this recording session. Yeah, well, I got the dungeon done at least, so now I can access Expo Roulette. and get some bloody astronomy tomes. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna end this video here. This has been Dragon of Eternity, going through more Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker Patch 6.1 MSQ. In this video, I learned of the fate of Ritra's sister, the final brood member, which we did not know about. So she is in the first, not in the first, in the 13th. Somewhere. Status unknown. And during a cutscene, we saw Golbez from Final Fantasy IV and his 4 fiends. Which can only make me think maybe Ceramus is somewhere in that place. Yeah. A lot of questions, but very little answers at this point in time. So, next time I'm going to be talking to this NPC here to get the Bridging the Rift quest. So we'll be probably doing some more research on that Void Gate. I feel like I'm behind something. Oh yeah, the funds going to the... I can't think of what the guy was called. Oh my... I feel really bad for this. The Kalzal Foundation. So we don't have to worry about the orphans in the city. Hopefully in the island. And hopefully trade routes get established, so a more thriving Fafnir. Back to pre-Tower of Zot days. Hopefully. So yeah, found out about the lost brood, sibling, and the Kalzal Foundation was established. So next time, I'll be talking to this NPC here to accept the Bridging the Rift quest, which will probably be looking into that Void Gate more. Yay. So yeah, with that planned out, viewers, with my rambling hopefully now finally done, until next time.